my goal was just to find a way to make a living wrestling. And I always thought that that would be through the independents for a long time. Like maybe I'd get to go to Japan, maybe I'd get to do more stuff like in Germany. Like I was in Germany at the beginning of when we lived together. Like I always thought like I'd do this journeyman thing and then maybe eventually I would get to like maybe WWE or something. Like or not even that. Like I would just find a way to make a living wrestling wherever it was, and that was what I wanted, and that's what I would be happy doing. So I never thought that like AEW would even exist. And then not only did I not think it would exist, then once it did exist, I didn't think all these other guys would go over there. And then I didn't think that I would be paired with them. And like it's just been such a wild ride.
Utes, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. First and most important question before we get into some other good stuff is how are you doing? Like actually, man, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Life's good. Just got engaged. Things are going pretty good at work. So work meaning AEW. Streaming on Max. There we go. Uh, got to get that in there. But yeah, everything's been going good, man. I've been enjoying life, enjoying a little espresso right now at 3 p.m. But yeah, things have been good. How about you?
Never had it so good, man. I mean,
Yeah,
2024 was pretty awesome. You were there. You were one of my
yeah, I was there for
groomsmen.
some of it.
I got married. That was
Yeah,
all
it's pretty
amazing.
sick.
Probably, yeah, probably best weekend of my life, I would say.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh
Dude,
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy though. Like you're engaged, so you're gonna have a whatever type of wedding you have, and
Yeah,
I mean, I said this at the wedding, but it's like super rare, like actually super rare, where
yeah.
everyone that you love is in the same place, unless it's a
Right.
funeral or a wedding. And if it's
Hmm.
a funeral, you might be the one that's fucking dead, so you don't even get to see the people that you love that are there that are celebrating you,
Yeah,
which
one
I
of
think
those is
is
much more
yeah,
joyous than the other.
yeah. I mean, I think it's crazy. I get like we have so many different things going on and schedules are crazy and it's hard to coordinate with people, but it's like, man, if you can like at least do something outside of a funeral and a wedding to see everyone that you love a little bit more often, um, it's super important. Like I was listening to this guy talk. He lived like far away from his parents,
Hmm.
and he was like a little bit older than we are, like maybe in his 40s, and so they were like in their 70s. And he was like, so if you see your parents once a year, every year until they die, how many more times are you going to see your parents? He's like, oh,
Wow.
probably 15 times total. That's it.
Yeah, that's crazy
Like,
to think about.
and
Yeah.
so I get like, yeah, people live different. Maybe you don't live close to your parents, or maybe the situation is different for you. But like, if you just like zoom out and put it in that perspective, like I have to spend time with people that I care about and love more than 15 times in the next 15 years. But it's
Hmm.
hard. I get it. Like, you met all of my friends. You know them all really well now. None of us live anywhere near each other. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
comes, very hard. But we all live together at some point, including you and I. So, uh, but yeah, anyways, just riffing off that. If you have any
yeah.
thoughts.
No, yeah. I mean, that's very true. Like as you get older, like obviously when you're a kid, all your friends are like right there. The only people that are kind of far away are family for some people, and then as you get older, everyone moves away, and then it gets much more spread out, and people get busy with their own lives and like what they're doing in their own little circles. So it's nice to be able to, reconnect and mingle versus like just a text or a call here and there. So
Yeah,
it's important to make time to see people,
it
like you said.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also amazing. I mean, you and Tank have been together for a long time, so you
Yeah.
know like how special it is to find someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Hmm.
I just recently, found that in the last 3 years, meeting my wife and stuff. But running around being a hooligan before that, it's a lot of it's different and it's amazing, right? You have someone to bounce off ideas off of, support you, even when you have a wild job like like you do, or
Yeah.
things are a bit crazy. My job's a little bit more stable now, but it's still up and
Hmm.
down. But it's I hope I always keep this like sort of fresh take on having a person that loves and supports me, and I do the same for her. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel 50 years from now, but hopefully the same. We'll see. I got to work at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, always relationships are work, but yeah, I'm so blessed to have old Tank, like you say. That's her wrestling name, by the way. If she was a wrestler, she'd be a tank. It'd be great. Uh, but yeah, like just having someone there to love you and support you through all of the trials of my insane job and my life and just, yeah, life in general. Like it's so awesome to have like that partner to go through everything with and always know that you have that support system and you have that kind of grounding force in your life. And I love her to death. So yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah,
wonderful to
Mazel
be in
Tov.
love, right? Thank you.
Oh, it is. I'm also imagining what everyone who's listening or watching is thinking about what your fiance actually looks like, since her wrestling name would be Tank. I hope they have just some very odd pictures in their
Yeah.
mind about who
Yeah.
Weather Yuta, would pick a Tank wrestling name for. Yeah, so that's good. Anyways,
Yeah.
to totally take a U-turn here and switch subjects completely,
Sure.
because I'm just like an expert podcaster now.
Dude, what a segue this is. Crush
Yeah, just
it.
so good, amazing. But let's talk about Philly sports, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're obsessed with Philadelphia sports.
What do you mean?
Uh, let's go Flyers. According to
Go
you, they're in a
Flyers.
rebuild stage. I knew nothing about
Yep.
that, but you told me that before we pressed
Hey.
record. Um, when we lived together, you were obsessed with them. I
Mhm.
am not as obsessed with Philadelphia sports as you. I
Yeah,
love the Philadelphia Phillies simply because I love Bryce Harper. If he did not play on that
same.
team, I would not root for them.
It's
Um,
fair.
but as we're recording this, we're like 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl. When this
Yep.
episode is released to the public, the Super Bowl will be over. What do you think
Okay.
happens? Talk to me about the game, all that stuff.
Oh God, I can't give like a prediction that'll already be maybe proven wrong. Um, but I will anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the big piece was like we've got the running game now. We've got Saquon, and you can just run the ball down your throat at any point. Like I heard someone talking about like we just talked about the Phillies. Someone saying that like Saquon is the same home run threat as like a Kyle Schwarber. Like it's fun watching him run the ball because it's like he might just pop off for like an 80-yard touchdown run at any time. This is like Schwarber, like he might just hit the ball to the moon at any point. He'll probably strike out or walk. So like he'll probably get a like for football terms, he'll probably get like a 2 or 3 yard run. That's probably what's going to happen. But every once in a while, he pops off this sweet home run, and it's awesome. So I don't know. I actually went to the last Eagles Super Bowl where they lost to the Chiefs, which was awesome experience until the end of the game when I was very sad. Uh, but no, I think they got it this time. I really do. I think they have the will to win. I think that they want revenge. I think they have enough of like the same pieces from 2 years ago, and they have a lot of new pieces. Like the defense has just been causing turnovers left and right. So that's my hope is that we can come out with this one, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
knock
mean,
on some wood.
they definitely played their best game against the Commanders.
Mhm.
Definitely firing on all cylinders, 4 turnovers. Saquon Barkley is just absolutely incredible. The guy's like he just loves being in the playoffs. He's like, I'm finally
Yeah.
in the damn playoffs with an actual
Yeah, yeah.
team that has the potential to win a big one, and I'm going nuts. I'm running over everyone. I'm leaping over everyone. Jalen Hurts is
Mhm.
playing good enough. Like I think he played his best game
Yeah.
against the Commanders. He's gonna have to play a little bit better. I think
Mhm.
in the Super Bowl, because obviously the Chiefs' number one priority is going to be to make sure Saquon Barkley doesn't run for 175 yards with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So if Jalen does what he does and has those periodic runs where he, darts in the end zone, does some couple tush pushes. My mom calls it tushy pushies.
Tushy pushies. Nice. Not
uh,
brotherly shove.
yeah. Shout out to my mom. Got to mention her on every single
Yep.
episode. But no, yeah, because they are a better team than they were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is like they're going to be their third Super Bowl appearance in like 8 years. What year did they win? 20
17, I think.
with big dog Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles and Doug Peterson. Yeah,
That
that
guy's a
was
legend.
dude, the man.
Yeah,
I
but
was thinking
then
about like
go ahead.
laying like off like there's a statue of him and Doug Peterson in front of the stadium. I thought about like laying some offerings in front of it for good luck.
There's a statue.
Yeah, they built a
No,
statue. It's
Nick
their
Foles. Nick Foles
bro,
has a
their first.
statue,
The Eagles have one Super Bowl win.
and it's
They've
Nick
won.
Foles.
It's Nick Foles. Yeah,
Oh my God, he's got a
so
statue.
he's got a statue. Yeah, he's got a statue
Oh,
right out front. Because
that's
yeah, like every other championship the Eagles won was before the like NFL and AFL merged. It was the NFL championship. So it was basically the equivalent of winning like the NFC.
mm,
So they only have one actual Super Bowl, and that was a couple years ago.
Well, now they're back in it, facing the same team who's looking to have a three-peat.
Yeah.
Um, that's I've been talking about this a lot, sort of on my sports show, and sort of thinking about sort of the mindset of a great team, because that's really what it is. Like it's not like the
Hmm.
Chiefs have been playing amazing. Like they beat teams by one
Yeah.
score here and there, but they don't panic ever. They're like,
No.
it's probably going to go our way because it usually does. And now there's some argument about why it might go their way. Speaking of professional
Yeah.
wrestling,
Yeah. It's all
um,
entertainment, baby.
we could talk about that in a second too. But there is something to be said about how you build a great team and a great culture
Yeah.
that literally just everyone on the roster 100% believes they're going to win every time they step out on the field. And that's a
Yeah.
huge deal when it comes to playing in these quote unquote high pressure games. Because if you look at someone like a Tom Brady, you listen to him talk in interviews now, he's like, I treated every single game that I played in the same because I prepared the same way every single game. So whether it was week one or it was the Super Bowl, it felt the exact same for me because I prepared the same. So there wasn't more pressure. It was just another football game. And I think that's how the Chiefs approach it. They're like, oh, this is week two. Oh, this is like another football game. Same team, same game, same thing. So they don't play over their skis. They don't do things that they can't do, and they have a full-time belief that they're going to win. And it starts with obviously the best players on the team, the coach, and all that stuff. And so it makes them
Hmm.
really, really hard to beat, obviously. I mean, I think the Bills are a better team. Did they win? No. It is what it is. Like I got all of my
Yeah.
predictions wrong. I was like Bills and Lions. It's like Bills and
Yeah.
Lions in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, which would have been a great Super Bowl. Really
That
would
would
have
have
been a
been
great
great.
Super Bowl. Like Detroit needs something. The Bills, like
Yeah.
you just watch Josh Allen after every game he plays against Patrick Mahomes. Like dude is just like crying, and I get it. He's like emotional. He played his fucking heart out. There's nothing more that
Yeah.
he could do.
Yeah.
But they just find a way to win, and so I say that in sort of in opposition against your Phillies Eagles pick. Not that I care who wins. The only reason I root for the Eagles is that you're happy. That's literally the only reason.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
It's
You
this.
live in
It's
Dallas.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
the same reason I root for the Cowboys. So because my mom loves them,
Right.
and it makes her happy. And
Yeah.
so like I don't care. I just like to see good players do good things. That's why I wanted to see
Hmm.
Josh Allen win, or I like to see good players play great when the lights are the brightest. And Patrick Mahomes does that, and it's wild to see. Saquon Barkley is doing that like I've never fucking seen a running back do in my life. Probably the greatest running back season in the history of the NFL. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
It's been
playoffs
incredible to
included.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think playoffs included, he could win or not win, but break the single season rushing record. Like he could have broken the regular season one if he had played in the last game. I know that there's a lot of discussion over there's an extra game now, but like with the full counting the playoffs, if he he'd have to run his ass off in the Super Bowl, but he could feasibly break that record, I think. I think it's
Yeah.
it's 100 something yards. So it's up there. I think it's like 150 yards, but so he'd have to run his ass off, but I think he certainly could. Like I could see him
Absolutely.
putting up those kind of numbers. And it's like, yeah, like you said, all those other threats that it opens up. But I really did think we were going to see the Lions in the NFC Championship game. I did not think that we were going to see Washington, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. It would have been a better game, but the Commanders won. They
Yeah.
outplayed the Lions.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels has some of those qualities that you see some of these really elite veteran quarterbacks have, just poise, calmness, able to sit in the pocket, looks cool on the sidelines, like manages his
Mhm.
team well, sets a standard, a leadership quality. Man, yeah, but I wanted to see the Lions do well.
Yeah,
Also, because
it's
I'm
so
kind of
bad for them.
obsessed with Dan Campbell. I think he's one of the best
Oh, he's
coaches in the
awesome.
NFL. Just the way he
Yeah.
loves his players, the way he cares for them. Like I think that's
Yeah.
super important when it comes to getting the best out of people, not just
Did
like
you
pointing and yelling, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
did
Anyways,
you
go ahead.
watch the Hard Knocks
I haven't.
of the Lions? It was might have been, I think it was last season's preseason. It might have been 2 years ago now though. But it's the funniest thing. He goes in and the first thing he does is he makes everyone do 50 up downs is day one of training camp, and he does them with them.
Yes.
But he's got his wrist taped up, and then he finishes up, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, man, I sprayed." He's going to Aaron Glenn. He's like, "Yeah, I sprained my wrist. I fell down in my house the other day." And he's worried that he wasn't going to be able to do the up downs with the team. It's like, dude, you're the coach. You don't have to. You could have done that at any point or not done it. But it's just a leadership thing of just hey, if I'm going to ask you guys to do this stuff, I'm going to do it with you at least once. So I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, he's a really interesting head coach. And it's also cool to see a former player get that far as a head coach, because it's almost like once you are done playing, you have to like reset as a coach. Like you have to go do all the grunt work again, and like you're the assistant, you're getting people coffee, like you're trying to work your way back up. So it's cool that like a former player could do that because I think a lot of former players don't want to be coaches because they don't want to go through all that. Like, hey, I earned my seniority in the league already. Like I've been playing for 10 years. Like, why do I have to basically be an intern? But it's like you're switching jobs. You have to do a new job now. So I think a lot of people don't want to go through it, but it was cool to see like he really feels like a player's player, you know, so, or a player's coach, I guess now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Dan's awesome.
he needs to rebuild some of his coaching staff now that he lost two of his best guys.
Yeah, yeah. Where did
So,
Aaron Glenn go? I just brought him up. Can't
where
remember.
did he go? The Bears, right? No,
Oh yeah, I think.
right?
I don't know.
Someone fact check us.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
edit that in. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I talked about it last week, but I forgot. There's too many things going on in my brain. Anyways, not important. But yeah, he's got to replace those roles. And I don't think the Lions are going to be as good as they were the last couple years moving forward, unless they figure that out. But you know, it's cool to see them
Yeah.
win a bunch of games after being really really bad for a long time. So hopefully
Yeah.
they can keep that sort of winning
Also,
momentum going.
also got to think like their defense is everyone's injured, so like imagine they get healthy again. But
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so well, people check back here after the Super Bowl to see if me or Utes was right. Because I'm going
yeah,
Chiefs, he's going Eagles. But if the Eagles win, I'll be pumped because he'll be happy. So either way,
yeah,
we win
yeah.
and we see a great game.
I'll cry either way after the game. It's fine.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, let's talk about some baseball and then we'll get into some pro wrestling talk. Okay,
Yeah,
I think what I just said about the Chiefs is basically what the Phillies represent in the opposite form. They just cannot win a big game, even though they have some of the best baseball players that have ever existed on the face of the planet.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what happens. It's like the the people that were most dependable, like in the regular season, seem to be the ones that kind of fall off. Although the hitting's always streaky. Like
Hmm.
if you like as someone who watches almost every Phillies game, like dudes are like I don't know, everyone's up or down. We don't have a lot of like very consistent like, all right, he's gonna get on base and it'll be fine. Like there's a lot of three true outcome feast or famine type players on our team. But like this past year, like Schwarber put more of an emphasis on like I'll hit some singles and doubles here and there, and it like really helped his game. So it really brought his average way up, and he still hit I think almost the same amount of bombs. Like so it still worked out. But yeah, it feels like in the clutch moments they always kind of fall apart. And then this year was the bullpen, but it was like Strom and Hoffman who were like our two most trusted relievers. So that was crazy. Obviously, like the grand slam to Lindor was Estevez who came in at the deadline, but he was pretty good for us most of the year too. Like once he finally came over. So I don't know. It's a weird situation, and then they didn't really like go out and get too many people. Like they got Kepler, and they got Lazardo as like a starter. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like a weird kind of in between where I I really hope the window's not closing. I don't think it is when you have like that level of talent on the team. But when you look at what they're building like in Los Angeles and stuff, it's kind of tough to be like, oh, dude, we gotta to get to the World Series, we're gonna have to play them in a 7 game series with that rotation and that lineup. Like, dude, what? I don't know what they're gonna do with Otani, like pitching wise. Like, my thought is he should be a DH and then come out of the bullpen, and then
Hmm.
that would be uh, just to like so he can throw for longer, like preserve his arm a little bit. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a weird thought, but and maybe I'm just biased because like the WBC was so awesome when he came in and closed. But yeah, when I see like some of these other teams that are getting built up, I start to worry. But I don't know. I think that if we catch a heater at the right time, because we are such a streaky team, like 2022, we caught a heater towards the end of the year, and I mean even the second half, like the whole second half was like a steady climb up. But it's just about getting hot at the right time. Like there's so much randomness, I feel like in baseball that
Oh yeah.
you never know who's gonna win.
I mean, why are the fucking Diamondbacks making the World Series 2 years ago against the Rangers? Like, were they the best team
Because
in the were they the
we
best team in the
can't hit.
National League? You know what I mean? Like, no, they weren't. But that's why sports are so unique like that because you never know. Again, Commanders beating the Lions. I think there's more of an argument to be made that the NFL is fixed more than baseball is because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's if you've never played baseball, it's actually harder to purposely swing and miss than it is to actually hit the ball. So I don't know how that happens. But
No, there's like a skill gap here, I think, because it was not that hard for me. But
it's really
yeah,
hard if you're actually trying to swing and miss. Like on purpose and make it look like you didn't swing and miss on purpose. You know what I
okay,
mean? Like, of course
yeah,
I can
that's fair. That's fair.
swing and like swing
Yeah,
over the ball. And that's obvious, right? But like, I'm
right.
actually in the box, like loaded in my stance, like ready to go, trying to crush this ball. And then I purposely miss the ball by like this much. It's super fucking hard unless you're like Barry Bonds, who's the
Yeah,
greatest player of all time. But, um,
yeah,
yeah, so I think the Phillies definitely need they need like an on base type catalyst guy who just like
hmm
has got an on base percentage like over 400. He's gonna get on base, take his walks. He's not really worried about hitting the ball out of the ballpark, so that at least can
yeah,
get something going each inning, so that guys behind him who got big barrels can potentially drive in some more runs. But I gotta have Bryce Harper has to win a World Series. I need it. I need it.
yeah. Me too, man.
He's the man.
Me
He's
too.
so cool.
He
And now he's
needs it.
posting
Yeah,
all these videos on the internet of him making like banana bread. It's
yeah.
like
And
the best
he's an
stuff.
espresso guy too.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you have to have it. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it won't tarnish his career because baseball is not so worried about championships like all these other sports like NFL and NBA. Like Barry Bonds doesn't have a World Series ring. Nobody cares. They only care that he took steroids, but that's besides the point.
yeah,
So like, but it would just be cool. You just want to see the best players in the world have those big moments, like that opposite field home run he hit a couple years ago.
yeah.
Man, every time I watch that video, I
Incredible.
get fucking chills. It's like the best.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and like for as much as I keep saying, or not keep saying, but like as I was saying earlier, that like I feel like the window might be starting to close a little bit when I look at all the other like competition in the league. I I think that's as the team is like currently constructed. But I think if like I don't know, Bryson Stott becomes this like great OBP guy or something, and then we get like one more piece, then I think, all right, screw it, I said the window's wide open. Like we just
Yeah.
need to like modify things a little bit before, we lose the prime of like Harper, Turner, who seems to I don't know if he's regressing or if he's yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that contract. That's a hot topic on local Philly sports talk radio.
Is it?
Um, yeah, I think it's fine. I think they have to move him at a shortstop
Yeah.
eventually. I don't know if it's this year. I think they said it's not going to be this year. I think it should be sooner than later. I just don't know where you move him to. But
He's an athlete. He can play outfield.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like you could solve our outfield issues.
Hmm.
They're working on like a platoon with Marsh because they don't trust Marsh to hit lefties. So I don't know. I mean, you don't want to. Trey Turner's going to play every day. He's not going to be a platoon guy.
Right.
But uh, like right now, it's like a Marsh Rojas platoon. It's like, yeah, do we need that? Maybe
Yeah.
Rojas comes in as like a defensive replacement at the end of the game or something.
Hmm.
But I don't know. There's not a lot of offense there. But
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the best teams in the National League, like I don't know if the Mets are any better than they were. I'm not like a super Juan Soto guy. I just don't
no,
get why he gets a $756 million. He has one skill. He can't play defense. He's not a good base runner. He's not fast. It just hits. Like that's it. And I get like hitting is a premium, but like 16 years for $756 million is a fucking absurd amount of money.
yeah.
Like someone
What's
like
what's
Barry
his?
Bonds or A Rod would get $1 billion today. A billion.
Yeah, yeah. I think so.
I mean,
But
it's
like,
like
isn't Soto's big thing though? He walks a bunch too.
he
Like
does. Yeah,
he
he's
hits
got good on base
tanks and
percentage.
walks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like his big selling point, I guess. Yeah, it's not the defense.
it's
Defense is
not.
terrible.
It's
Yeah,
horrible. It's just
yeah.
like,
Do we go
but
DH for them?
I mean, if he played the same defense he did in New York or with the Yankees, I mean, then he might just
Yeah,
become a DH, and he's not going to
and
steal he's not going to steal any bases. He's not going to go first to third. He's not going to be
yeah,
aggressive. Like he might not even get a tag from second to third base on a fly ball deep in the right field corner. Like this guy
yeah.
just is like I don't know, man. And like I was reading some of his
I
contract
don't know you.
stuff.
I don't know you hated Juan Soto so much.
I don't hate him. I just don't understand. I just don't get it. When you
Okay.
can get like three or four players who might not hit as well as him, but like
Mhm.
combined for that same amount of money could make a better team. And if you're trying to
Yeah,
win championships,
Moneyball.
baseball is
Yeah,
never going to be about one guy. It's just never. Like he gets to hit four times in a game. That doesn't. Okay, yeah, he's going to hit a home run. Great. Now I get eight other people that I get out, and he comes back up. Sweet. Like, but I could put all these other pieces together that are going to make my team better. But he seems to be like a good team guy. People like to play with him, so maybe that's important as well. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on Juan Soto. Like he's one of the greatest hitting talents we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. I'll give him that. But you want a well-rounded player if you're going to spend almost $1 billion, because I was looking at his contract perks and what he gets and all of his incentives, like extra this for that, and if you get third place in MVP voting, you get another $50,000, and it's like if we win a World Series, you get a whole house and you get to own the state of New York. It's like, okay, great, man. Just like all this for a World Series ring, which I get it, and it's also hilarious that the Mets owner Steve Cohen didn't do any deferred money. He was like, no, I can just pay you out every year. So
I'll just do it right now. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no problem. I'll give you that $46 million every year. It's easy. It's like great.
Are they going to get Alonso back, do you think?
I don't know.
There's a lot coming out about all that.
Yeah, he was talking about how the Alonso deal is more torturous than the Juan Soto deal.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man.
But if they get him back, their lineup is quite good. Their lineup is quite good. It's a fierce lineup. They added some depth in their pitching rotation. The Braves are going to be good. And we know the Dodgers are the team to beat forever and always.
Yeah, for the next 20 years. That's why I'm watching a rebuilding hockey team, man. I gotta start branching out.
I don't know anything about hockey, so if you want to fill me in on that, and then we'll move on.
Oh, no, I mean the Flyers have just been rebuilding for a couple years, but they're trying to do it where it's like they don't completely like tank and tear it down, and they're trying to like still play like competitive games. So they've been trying to make like little missions almost. So like this year the goal is like or last year was too, but the goal is like to make the playoffs. And will they? Maybe. I don't know. Last season it came down to the last game, and then it was like kind of out of their hands, but they lost anyway, so it didn't matter. But they're just trying to get into the playoffs. But they have like a new young Russian player named Matvey Michkov. He's like our young winger of the future, hopefully. But it's weird. Like hockey's so weird where it's like all the prospects are kind of, because they don't have all the levels the way baseball does. They have the AHL, which is kind of like AAA. And they have like there's probably a few different leagues, but like ECHL is one of them. But it's like that's like the AA kind of level. But then they have a bunch of kids in like junior hockey and stuff. Like one of our prospects was like an 18-year-old, so he played like three games for us, and then they were like, we're gonna send you back to your junior team. So he's playing with like 18-year-olds in Canada somewhere. And it's like very strange how the like the farm system kind of works. I'm not as big of a hockey fan as I am like a baseball fan, so I'm still trying to figure it all out. But I've wrestled at both of their arenas.
Let's go.
The Flyers AHL and ECHL arena, not at the Flyers arena, but at their minor league arenas.
That's sweet,
in Reading and Allentown. So yeah, that's cool.
Okay, well now I know just as much as you about hockey, so thank you.
Yeah, there you
go. But yeah, another beautiful segue here with my amazing podcasting skills that I've learned over time. First sort of a question wrestling related. They're big Utes.
Sure.
When we were living together in Philadelphia, sort of struggling to get by as independent professional wrestlers, did you see yourself in the spot that you are now?
No, of course not.
No?
No, not at all. So like first there's no like AEW at the time. So obviously that's part of it. But like when I look at all these guys that they've kind of paired me with, it's crazy to think about. Like I always looked up to Bryan Danielson. Like I loved his stuff in like when he's on the Independents, when he's in Ring of Honor, even like in WWE, I loved all that. Like it was always awesome to watch him wrestle, and he was one of the guys that I wanted to like emulate and be like. You think of like Moxley, Claudia, like these are all like Regal. These are all guys that I really looked up to. Like I went to my parents' house the other day and I found like a 21 disc set of William Regal matches that I bought from like High Spots or something. So it was like I never kind of saw myself on the level with these guys. And like when we were living together, my goal was just to find a way to make a living wrestling. And I always thought that that would be through the independents for a long time. Like maybe I'd get to go to Japan. Maybe I'd get to do more stuff like in Germany. Like I was in Germany at the beginning of when we lived together. Like I always thought like I'd do this journeyman thing, and then maybe eventually I would get to like maybe WWE or something like, or not even that. Like I would just find a way to make a living wrestling wherever it was, and that was what I wanted, and that's what I would be happy doing. So I never thought that like AEW would even exist. And then not only did I not think it would exist, then once it did exist, I didn't think all these other guys would go over there. And then I didn't think that I would be paired with them. And like it's just been such a wild ride over the past few years. And I'm so lucky and it couldn't have played out any better. I'm super happy to be at AEW, but like it's not something I ever would have predicted for myself. Like I thought I would be like this journeyman independent guy. Maybe I'd get like a cup of coffee somewhere on TV and that'd be cool. And then I could raise my indie booking fee when I'm back in high school gyms and stuff. And that's kind of what I thought my career would be. But I was like, maybe I'd eventually be able to like get a taste of it. But now I've been wrestling on TV for the past, I guess, almost 4 years now, and like it's a fever dream, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. I've told you this story before, but I'll share it now
Mm-hmm.
here. Your very first match on TV, I was watching with my buddy Tanner, who's also a huge wrestling fan and appreciates all the tickets that you've gotten us to AEW shows. So thank you.
I got
But
you.
I cried my fucking eyes out, man. I did.
Yeah.
When you came out and you were wrestling on TV, and I didn't know, like you were just wrestling at that point. You weren't in like the group yet, so we didn't really know where you
Yeah.
were gonna go and what was gonna happen. But it was still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were living together, a lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff personally for you and I. We were trying to figure some shit out. We were doing crazy stuff. We were trying to, make a living. We had outdoor furniture inside of our house because that's all we could afford was the plastic stuff. We had like weird couches and like our beds were on the floor and, just like, and we had
Yeah.
parents that loved and supported us. So we could have like went for them for more things than we did. They had to co-sign on our apartment because we didn't have any fucking money,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we were trying. We wanted to do it on
Mhm.
our own. We wanted to make something. And you were like, and it was great. And so watching you do that, like almost was like me also doing it because I've never wrestled on TV, right? And my career's over. It was like also me doing it at the same time. That's what I felt like. You're a fucking groomsman to my wedding. Like I love you, like a brother. And so it is, it's unbelievable actually to see you with some of these guys that you first told me about when we were living together, because I was pure sports entertainment WWE guy, and you're like, yeah, you should look at all these other things and people and all these other types of wrestling, and that's the wrestling that you're showcasing now with AEW. And I mean, my wife and I went and saw you at Arlington for the Ring of Honor Pure Rules match,
Yeah.
and I had to sort of explain to her what that meant because it's different, much different than a
A little
normal just
complicated. Yeah.
wrestling match. And so it's cool to see you doing the thing that you love to do and making it your job, and being able to provide for the people that you love doing that. So it's it warms my heart, not to get sappy, but I knew that was going to happen anyways. But it's all right.
Yeah. And you were also the one who told me that I was having my second match on Dynamite. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I do.
Because it was the second one was in Dallas, and I didn't know what I was doing on the show yet, and you just went, "Oh, look at this!" and you showed me the match graphic of me versus Darby Allin. I was like, "Oh, all right, cool."
Oh
So
yeah, we were in the hotel
that
room.
was yeah, yeah. You picked me up from the airport. You drove me to my hotel, and I think we went to IHOP or something. Or no, we went
Yeah.
to Olive Garden.
Oh, that
That's what
was
it
so
was. It was
good.
Olive Garden. It was really good. Yeah. I live
Yeah.
across the street from an Olive Garden now. It's not good. It's not
Yeah,
the
you got
same.
to go like every 6 years, and it's really good.
Yeah, yeah. No, last time they gave me like a warm beer, and I was like, "Ooh, this is not good."
Um, yeah, it's so funny. All my friends who watch wrestling still will, and some of like my fans who used to be fans of Jackson Stone and stuff who talk to me like will always message me about you. And I'm like, yeah, like I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
yeah.
I saw. Yeah.
I mean, most of the
Oh,
time I
funny.
actually didn't see some of the stuff but now I like pay attention to wrestling a lot because I have this other wrestling YouTube channel. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy, anyways. But
Pro
but
Wrestling
before,
Daily, everyone, check it out.
yeah, Pro Wrestling Daily, go check it out, subscribe. It's pretty cool.
Do you say
Um,
nice things about me?
I haven't talked about AEW yet.
Damn it, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
watched. I watched some of it. Though.
at the
Some of
time
your
of this
other.
recording, I mean, I'm only been
Kidding.
doing it for like 3 weeks,
I know. I know. I'm a bad friend. I didn't know that. I only watched the first week. I'm sorry.
That's okay. There's a
You know,
video every single day, so
you know who's watching them?
huh?
Hiroko. She's watching.
She's watching
My
my
mom.
videos.
She was watching your videos, yeah.
Oh,
She texted me the other day to ask what's Aaron's wrestling channel now. So I texted her that. So I don't know if she listens to all of them. She might. I know she listens to
wow.
that one. Yeah.
What a champ. What a champ.
Right?
Support all the way around. Yeah.
Yep.
But eventually I'll get into some AEW stuff, or I'll just specifically only do episodes just about you.
That'd be really funny. Just Wheeler you to deep dive.
Yeah. Speaking of that channel, I did a video the other day about the most underrated wrestlers of all time, specifically thinking about WWE. And I mentioned
Yep.
William Regal just as a like an honorable mention, but I didn't go into detail about him. What would you say? Do you have any guys on the top of that list that you think are super underrated? Just maybe indies, WWE, guys you've worked with?
I always thought you were just because we're talking about indies. I always thought you were super underrated. I always thought you never got like your just due. Like I know
Thank
you
you.
had some tryouts and stuff, but I always thought that you deserved me more. And then our old buddy Alexander James. I always thought, he's a coach now at WWE in their performance center. I believe still, right?
I think
But
so.
yeah, but he always was like, I remember the first time I saw you wrestle was you guys against each other, and I was like, that was fucking awesome. It was like, I think I came up to you and told you, I was like, that was sick, and you're like, oh, thanks, man. Like we had never met before, but that was a random Nova Pro show. It was the one
Oh,
bef- it was the one before we rode together, and that's how we started living together. It was the one before that, but you wrestled
wow.
AJ, and I was like, wow, that match was awesome. So those are you guys two that come to mind real quickly. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
But Regal too, for sure.
Yeah.
Like he always tells me like he when he was coming up, like the things that like his veterans would say to him was like make sure that your work and what you do in the ring will hold up in like 25 years. Like there's definitely things in wrestling that'll like change and evolve, but like if you do things like nice and tight and they look clean and they look like believable, he's like that's the stuff that'll kind of stand the test of time. So that's always what he went for in his wrestling. So I think that a lot of it does stand true. Like when you go back and watch old things that he did, like a lot of them do look very like legitimate and rough. And I think that that's what made his work stand out. Like there wasn't a lot of flashy things. Like he definitely got into a lot of comedy stuff. Like
Mhm.
he always says, like I'm really good at pulling faces. That's what he says, and like he can make he can use that either like in a very serious way when he's being this evil villain guy, but he can also use it to like, you know, have some egg on his face and be funny. So I think that he's very versatile in that way, but he was always just kind of focused on like, I'm going to do the job, do it to the best of my ability, whatever they ask of me, and try to make it solid so that it stands up in 25 years. It's always the thing that he told me. So I think that that's why he was so underrated in his time, but why people appreciate him more now, I think.
Yeah. That's a really, really valuable point. I
Mhm.
think someone who probably embodies that now is our buddy Gunther.
Yeah, he's
You
the man.
know, he's doing amazing, but like that's what he does, right?
Mhm.
His
Yeah,
whole shtick is just being the ring general or whatever. But like, if you probably
right.
watch his matches 20 years from now, you're like, oh, that still looks like it really fucking hurts.
Yeah,
And
he has stuff that you could like put in any era. It feels like, which is cool.
Yeah, because sometimes my man will jump from the top rope and do his his mo- his body always looks very funny when he jumps off the top rope. He kind of looks like a flying squirrel. It's so funny because he gets so wide. It's so
Uh,
fun.
yeah,
But yeah, he'll do stuff like that, and then he'll just like chop and kick and boot and clothesline you to death, and then
yeah.
it's amazing. So he comes to mind. But I Jordan Oliver says
Yeah.
that he thinks Tyson Kidd is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time,
Mm,
and I thought that
that's a
was
good one.
a really good one. And my boy Fuego um, said that Brad Armstrong came to mind when he thought about
Ooh.
underrated wrestlers. So
Yeah, that's another good one.
yeah,
Have you ever watched a Brad Armstrong match?
I
I'm
don't
just
think so.
curious.
I don't think
No,
so.
okay.
And
They're really good. You should watch
yeah,
them.
if I had, it's with you. If I haven't, it's because you didn't show me.
Yeah, that's on me, dude. I did have like a Best of Mid South DVD that he had some matches on, so I probably showed you at least one on there.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah.
the two that came to mind, like for me mostly, were the model Rick Martel
Hmm.
and Ravishing Rick Rude. I don't know why they're both named
Yeah.
Rick, but I think those two guys completely underrated. It's just for work rate, being heels, being able to slip on the banana peel, look stupid, but also at the same time, people took them seriously and were contenders for serious matches. And still look like they could beat people up, but like not afraid to look dumb with their whole shtick. And like Rick Rude was way ahead of his time in terms of like the guy airbrushed his opponents on his tights. I mean, that's like that's pretty fucking cool, especially when he had that body. And he would call everyone sweat hogs before he took his robe off, and you know, just good stuff. And
didn't he like airbrush Jake Roberts' wife on his tights one
sure
time?
did.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good move.
Yeah. So I was thinking about those guys as underrated. But you know, it's like our boy Richard Holiday says, you got to give people their flowers.
Yeah,
He says it in
sure.
a not a way. I mean, I don't know how he says it. Really, I haven't talked to him about it. But I think that is important.
Sarcastic heel way.
Yeah, wherever he's saying it, you know, I'm saying it in like the nice. It's important to give
Genuine
people their
way.
flowers.
Yeah.
Because we talked about, you know, funerals, right? That's usually when people get their flowers. Someone dies. Okay, let's talk nicely about them. No, like if I appreciate your work now and you're great now, I'm going to tell you as often as possible, because I think that's important. Like people want to hear that stuff now. We all have self-doubt and we all feel icky about our work, especially as professional wrestlers. We're like, that wasn't very good. This sucks. That fan is telling me I'm terrible. Well, it's like nice to know that our work is doing what it's supposed to do, and it's eliciting some emotion, or it's creating some sort of reaction, or people are enjoying it. And so I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. And continuing on that, just two more that I thought of, just like active. Um, One would be Lee Moriarty. I
Oh yeah.
think that he's awesome. Like we used to joke around when we were on the Indies, and because he hated this, we would call him the best technical wrestler in North America, and it would really make him mad. Uh, I don't know, I think Dominic Garini came up with that, but he just doesn't want to accept praise and compliments. But he's phenomenal, and he can do so many different things, like in the ring, and his character stuff is like come a long way, especially since I think he's got to AEW and been able to kind of develop it more like for TV and stuff. And then this one's gonna sound kind of weird because I think people do know that he's really good, but I think Pac might be like the best wrestler in the world.
You
And
think so?
I think he might be, yeah. And he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And it's also easy for me to say because like uh, he's such a perfectionist at his wrestling that he's like very critical of his work. So this might also be like me, I don't know, like how much he rates himself, like he undervalues himself. I don't know if the
Hmm.
fans do it as much as he does, but like I think he's probably the one of the best wrestlers in the world. So I think there's no way around that, and I don't think that people give him that level of credit. And I think they should. I think people normally give him like, oh yeah, he's very good, but they don't give him like, no, he might be one of the best. Like, he might be one of the best ever. So I think that that's like just watching him from the apron. It's really fun to see like up close. Oh no, he's phenomenal. And just like little intricacies that I don't get into, but like if you're a wrestler, you might be able to pick up on them, especially if you're in the ring with him. So he's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I noticed that when we went to an AEW show and I was watching Jay White wrestle.
Yeah, yeah.
Just just those little things that like a casual fan might come up to you and be like, "Wow, that match was so good." And you ask them why, and they're not really sure. They're just like, "That dude was that match was just better." And we
Yeah.
as wrestlers know why. It's because like what you're saying, the smaller details were accentuated. The way he moved here, the way he sold here, his body language here, the way he tripped here, but sort of stumbled into this. It wasn't just like all robotic. I'm gonna feed in this move is next and not, you know, all that horse shit. But like it looks fluid and natural and things are
Yeah.
executed well in like the tightest little corners where like the margin of error is really large. And I was like, I knew Jay White was great, but I hadn't watched him like that
Mm,
closely, right? Because I'm not
yeah.
at the shows, I'm not on the apron, but being front row, you're pretty fucking close, and you can see like some really cool stuff, and just the way he sells around, the way his mannerisms, the way he has, just the way he moves, like it just, I don't know, I was really, 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 really impressed. So I definitely know he's
Yeah.
going to listen to this and he's going to hear it, and then we're going to be friends.
I hate him. He did this to my chopped the shit out of me yesterday.
Oh, didn't you? Yeah, you literally
We
wrestled him
wrestled
last
yesterday.
night.
Yeah, yeah. He beat me.
Sorry, man.
It happens. Happens to
But
the best of us.
yeah. Speaking, we were
Champions
speaking
adjust.
yes, champions do adjust. Let's go, baby. Champsadjust.com for all your apparel needs. uh,
Yep.
that's why I do a podcast, so just so I can plug all my own shit.
Not a bad idea.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's pretty good. But we were talking about leaders and culture earlier. When you look at the AEW locker room, who has set themselves up as a leader, someone you look up to, someone who tries to, take charge and teach people and help them in the right direction? Is there multiple people, one person? I know you're in a group full of people who are some of the best in the
Hmm.
world, so I'm sure you get a ton of advice all the time. But
Yeah.
what about for the rest of the guys and gals?
I mean, there's a lot of people in the locker room that definitely step up, and some of them are like, just guys that kind of lead by example. Like I think Orange Cassidy is a good example of someone who just leads by demonstrating, like, all right, he shows up to work every week, he does what he's asked. He brings candy for the boys. That's fun. He just brings like 4 bags of candy to the locker room every week. But like he's always, he's on time. He does his stuff. He hits his times. He's always like uh, a very model employee, I would say. So he's sort of like a quiet leader that everyone just like looks up to and respects. Not me, obviously. I hate him. Screw that guy. Go Death Riders. But and then another one, it's obviously I'm biased, but John Moxley, I think, is really does like try to lead by example, and he's really tried to uh, build the culture at AEW into something we can be proud of. Like we talk about our storyline of the Death Riders and how we want to just build ourselves up, like build the company up into, everyone's the best versions of themselves. So the way that we're doing it is by beating people down and seeing like what we can bring out of them that way. But it really is like AEW is this place where we want everyone to, be the best versions of themselves and be able to grow into what they want to be as opposed to what a company wants them to be. But the only way that that works, like doing this like by the wrestlers for the wrestlers thing, is if everyone's on board and everyone's bought in. So I think that those are two guys that have really like set the tone and set the example of like, all right, you have to come here, be a professional, do your job, and like contribute, but not just for you, for everyone, because everyone in that locker room is relying on everyone else in the locker room, and I think we all know that, and like that's the culture that we've been building and trying to build is like everyone looking out for each other. But I think that those are two guys that have really like made a point to be like, no, this is how we're going to do it. So that's been very helpful.
Amazing. Yeah, I think people don't realize how much of a team sport, wrestling is. Because,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, yes, you have to sort of look out for yourself and, all of that. But, like, when you're in the ring, like, you can't do anything good unless you have a partner who's willing to create also magic with you,
yeah,
whatever kind of magic that is. Um, but we say in team sports all the time, I say to my athletes and my teams all the time, if you make the decision to take personal responsibility for you and your main job is to execute your role to the best of your ability, then you don't have to worry about anything else. If my job is to come in the ninth inning and get this bunt down, I haven't played all day, but I know this is my job right here and I execute that bunt, that's a huge win for the team. And it's the same thing in a
mm,
sort of pro wrestling show. Yeah, you may not be happy about your spot or this or that, and there's some external circumstances, of course, and everything that happens, right? Nothing's ever perfect at any job that anyone's ever had, ever. It just doesn't work
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Of course.
But
Yeah,
if you say, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for me, and then I'm going to execute this role, whatever it is, to the best of my ability, then things are probably going to work out great for you. For example, there's a story about Tom Brady. When he first got to Michigan, he was like the fourth string quarterback. And
hmm
so at practice, he only got 2 or 3 reps with the first team. And the first couple weeks, he was a bit like, what the fuck's the point of this? I'm never going to play. I'm getting like 1 rep with the first team. And then he meets this mental performance coach. I forgot his name. That's bad. I should remember it. But anyways, forgot his name. But he starts talking to Tom about, okay, well, why don't you treat those 2 or 3 reps like they're the most important reps in the whole world and see what happens? And now you can see how that translated into him getting more and more first team reps. And then he goes to Michigan and he gets drafted, whatever. But you could see how that transfers all the way over to what I talked about
hmm
earlier with him just treating every game like another game because every game is the most important game. But all he said to
yeah,
himself was, I'm just going to execute my role to the best of my ability. No matter if I only get 1 shot, 2 shot, 5 minutes, 2 reps, 3 reps, 6 minutes, it doesn't matter. This is what I'm going to do. And at some point, because of faith, God, a higher power, whoever books, whatever, good things are going to start falling into your lap because of that mentality. And I think
yeah.
if more teams, cultures, wrestling companies, whatever it is, had that sort of mentality, then they would probably produce the best kind of content that they could.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Like it is a team. We're all working towards like our own individual goals, of course, but there's the main thing is this big collective goal because if, if the company succeeds, then we all succeed. So that's really the main thing that we're focused on, and that's trying kind of what we're trying to build.
Yeah. When you come to Texas for All In, that's what you're building towards, right? Is that the
Yeah,
biggest show?
yeah.
That's your biggest show of the year?
Yeah, that'll be the biggest show of the year. Globe Life Field, very exciting. I think Bryce got to like sit in the dugouts. Bryce Remsburg, he's a fellow baseball fan,
We love
and
Bryce.
he got to chew some of the gum because the Rangers were playing that day. I don't know. Don't tell the I don't know who's on the Rangers. Seager. Yeah, don't tell
Seager.
Corey Seager. Yeah, don't tell him that Bryce chewed his gum. But yeah, I'm really excited for that show. Like we've done it the past 2 years. Have been in Wembley Stadium in England, so that's been obviously awesome. But it's really exciting to do like a stadium here in the States. Obviously, me being the baseball nerd that I am, I'm really excited just to be in a baseball stadium at all. But I think it's going to be a really like awesome experience for all of the fans like in the U.S. that haven't been able to go see All In the past 2 years because it's in Europe. So I think it'll be great, and then we'll still be going to London doing a show in an arena. We'll be doing Forbidden Door there, so that's also very exciting. But I think it'll be really cool to be able to give a different look to All In, and then hopefully deliver the same quality of show that we have been the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's a really really cool stadium. I honestly
Mhm.
think it's
Yeah.
better suited for professional wrestling than it is for baseball. Um,
Yeah.
because it's just like I'm an old school baseball guy. I like
Mhm.
outside. I like
Yeah.
nice, like 30,000 seat stadium, dirt fields, everything's outside. It feels like a baseball park. I'm
Mhm.
sweating like it's the middle of summer. My butt cheeks are to the green chair because my shorts are hiking up because I'm so sweaty. And the guy next to
Yeah.
me is a little bit bigger and he's leaning against me and I'm leaning this way to, it's just the fun. Yeah, it's the fucking vibe. And like, yeah, can I get some cotton candy? That's great. And so now you're in this stadium and it's all air conditioned and I get it. Like in the middle of July in Arlington in Texas, it's 110 degrees. Nobody wants to go to the game. I get it. In Arizona, they have the same thing. So I understand why we do it. I mean, I didn't go to the games in the summer, so it's probably why I go to them now. So now I'm just
Yeah.
talking out of my ass because it's a better stadium, obviously. But I'm an old school guy with baseball. But the stadium is sweet. It's like in Philadelphia where they have like the Philly Live around it.
Hmm.
They have the same
Yeah.
thing in Arlington. For anyone who hasn't
Oh,
been, I know
nice.
you've been around there a bunch. But for
Yeah.
anyone who's thinking about going, it's like super cool area, bunch of stuff to do. Texas Live is awesome. The
Mhm.
stadium is really cool, and I think it's really suited for professional wrestling, much more than baseball. But whatever, it's all good. I went to the World Series when they did the COVID when COVID
Mhm.
hit and they did the World Series only in Arlington,
Yeah.
and you had to sit like a bunch of people away from each other. Anyways, that doesn't matter. But it was super cool to see a World Series game. I've never seen a World Series game. That was sweet. Didn't go to a World Series game when the Rangers were actually in it a couple years ago because tickets were like absurd. And I went to one
Yeah.
playoff game, but anyways, now I'm just sort of rambling. But yeah, everyone should go. I'm gonna go if we don't have a baseball tournament. Um,
Yeah.
but
Be there or be square.
yes, well, why don't you just stay a couple days there, Utes, and come hang out?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely stay and say hi for sure.
Okay, you gonna bring Tank?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Hell
as
yeah,
long as she's not working. But yeah, it's the weekend. She should be fine.
yeah, she'll be fine.
Yeah, we gotta hang out, man.
Yeah,
Do
yeah, we
do you
do.
want a new bat?
Oh,
You want
oh,
a bat?
I don't know if I need to talk to you. It's actually on air, but I
Did you break
something
it?
I no, no, no. I haven't used it.
Okay.
It's hanging up in my house.
All right.
But whatever. It's fine. It's a podcast. We can talk about it. That bat that you got me for my wedding is the most amazing gift I've ever gotten. And
Oh,
you
thank
met
you.
this guy at the wedding. His name is Hunter. He's
Hmm.
getting married in May, and I want to
Yeah.
make him the same thing with some of his favorite stuff on the bat. So
Okay.
I need to get with the guy and figure that out and make that for him for
Yeah.
his wedding.
Yeah. Definitely. Everyone who likes baseball, Victus, who makes a bunch of bats for Major League Baseball, they do custom bats, and that's where I got Aaron's wedding present. So
So
they're
good.
King of Prussia is where their factory is. So it's like 30 minutes from me. So
Beautiful.
it was cool that I actually got to go see it. But yeah, you can do it online. So check them
Yeah.
out.
Oh, you could do it online.
You can, yeah.
Oh,
But
sweet.
you
Okay.
you should text me.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of AEW being on Max, to get an little plug in,
Yeah.
Jake Paul and Logan Paul just announced their fight to be on Max. Did you see that?
No, are they fighting each other?
Yes. On
Why?
Max. Yeah, on Max.
Why?
I don't know, because probably
All
someone's
right,
giving them
cool.
$20 million a piece or something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And
If I had a
look,
brother, I'd
yeah.
fight him for that much money,
I'll fight
I
you
guess.
for $20. I think that's what we did at Beyond Wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you only got 20? I got 50. Haha.
I don't know what I got. It was my first time, so whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I didn't really care at that point.
He pays me better now. It's
That's good for him. Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, Logan Paul's like trying to be the face of WWE while also trying to be a boxer, and it was rumored that he might fight Conor McGregor, but now he's just gonna fight his brother, and it's on Max and whatever. Anyway, so it'll be cool.
Yeah. It'll be on
Anyways,
Max.
Utes. What's the last question to sort of wrap us up? What's the future for Wheeler Yuta? Where do you see yourself going, and maybe where do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed everything I've done in AEW, and I'm excited for the future, and hopefully we can continue to grow as a company, and then I can continue to grow as a performer. Really excited to get married to Tank. So that's sort of the next big life event I think on the horizon. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I'm just sort of excited to see where this crazy life takes me. Like anytime I've tried to make like a 5-year plan or anything, it's never gone the way I thought it would, but it's always worked out. And like it's funny because as I say that, like anytime I've tried to make like, a 5-year plan and it hasn't worked out, I'm while that's true, at the same time, when I do look back at what I wanted when I was like 12, I've pretty much done all of it, which is crazy. Like, not necessarily to the extent that I want to. Like, I still want to continue to grow as a wrestler. I still want to take that further. Still want to grow as a human. Maybe I'll go back to school or something like that. I have a college degree, but maybe I'll go get a grad degree. Like, I don't know. But in terms of like, what did I want to do when I was younger? Like, I wanted to live in Philadelphia. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to be a professional wrestler on television. Like, I've done all that. So that's pretty cool. So sometimes it's nice to look back at what I've accomplished, but also just know that I want to keep growing in whatever way that happens. But I'm excited to see where things go with AEW, excited to see where things go getting married, and excited to hang out with you in July.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man.
Fuck yeah. Well, I love you, man. And
Love you too, dude.
you know how proud I am of you. And mostly I'm just happy that you're happy. And that throughout all of the shit that we've been through, we're still in each other's lives. And that's pretty fucking cool.
Hell yeah. Aaron and Paul for life. It's no longer my Hulu password. It was for a long time.
I don't know. I don't know what my Hulu password is. I think I get it free from T-Mobile. So that's what it is.
Mine's like Paul and Tank till we die or something. It's not that. But I
That's
changed
good.
it to her.
That's
Sorry,
a good
dude.
one. That's okay. I'm
we,
happy.
We got engaged. I changed.
I'm happy to be replaced by your future wife. I'm pumped by that. That's great. Couldn't be happier for it. But thanks, man, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Cheers. See you guys next time.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.